Welcome into this week's episode of Inside the Charge. I'm Maddy Glab. This week we are joined by Bills legend. It's so weird to say that title in front of his name. Bills legend Mitch Morse played with the Bills from 2019 to 2023 as their center. Mitch was back in Buffalo as the legend of the game for the Saints game, so he discusses what it was like coming back to lead the charge, the idea behind chugging a beer on the field to get the crowd riled up right before kick. Mitch also discusses getting to tailgate with Bills Mafia for the first time ever. He said he had a blast. Mitch also shares what it's like to watch quarterback Josh Allen as a fan instead of playing next to him on the field. Mitch says you get to see the Superman capabilities a lot more from a fan perspective. Mitch also discusses what it's been like to move over to the media world. He has his own podcast and is really loving getting to talk to people and talk football after spending so much time in this league. Enjoy the episode. Mitch, it looks like you had a blast in Buffalo. Did you make it home in one piece? How are we doing in the aftermath of having the time of your life here?
Yeah, well, I think they buried part of my soul somewhere in the Hammer Lot or in Allen Street. We made it yesterday, and I had set an alarm to take a 30-minute nap, and then I woke up 3.5 hours later, and it was past dinner time, and it was such a unique experience. And I'm still, you can tell, suffering a little bit from it. But if I could do it all over again, I would do the exact same thing in the exact same way.
It's somebody like you that comes back to a Bills game, and I think people just live vicariously through you, and they are so happy to see that, like, you just had such a great time. I don't know, for former players, especially former players who, just retired from the game of football, to be able to enjoy it in the way that you did, I think is, 12 out of 10, Mitch. I'm really happy for you. But let's cover just going back to your first game as a Bills fan, not as a player. How weird was that?
I thought it would be a little bit stranger than it actually was. It was fun.
Okay.
So I was lit up, so anything would have been fun at that point. But it was fun to see the guys do their thing. It was fun to be a part of a 1 o'clock game, which there aren't enough of those right now for the Bills, which is something you earn. America's interested in the Buffalo Bills, and I don't know. They put me up in this really cool spot where there's free food and more drinks. And let's just say that for most of the game, I was drinking water because I wanted to be able to see down on what was going on. And if I drank any more, I would have lost my vision. So it was awesome. It was great seeing the guys, and then being able to also kind of hang out with them after the game was a unique experience as well.
Okay, so your wife comes along for the journey. What is the conversation before? Like, hun, like just buckle up, like just let me do me and I'll be present for the game.
No, I absolutely leaned on her before we left the house. I said, I know when fun starts going down, when it starts rolling, it's like a snowball effect. I can get kind of lost in it. And she knows me perfectly well. So she was able to kind of push me when I needed to, pull me back when I needed to, but it was so fluid. And she had done this before. So she was also very cognizant of where to
She was
go.
like, I'm gonna take you on a journey.
Yeah, this is like this has been, this is her cup of tea. She knows what she's doing. She's had her finger on the pulse of the tailgating aspect of Buffalo Bills football for a very long time. So we leaned on her heavily, and she did not lead us astray. She was a slam dunk. Of course, it's my wife. I love her, but she also was able to get the kid to the stadium also just sober enough so that I could do my thing and then dip out.
Way to go. Way to go, wife. So I see, a couple clips of you experiencing the tailgating atmosphere. You're in the Hammers lot. You are doing the ketchup and mustard on Pinto Ron. What did you learn about Bills Mafia from getting to tailgate with our crazy fan base?
Yeah, well, just the kindness. I mean, they're just so generous with not only what they have, but also their time. They're so invested in not only the experience of tailgating, but the team itself, the guys. They get to know you. I mean, it's just the amount of people that knew stuff about my life, stuff that was going on. They invest in the guys. They invest in what's going on. I mean, we know their philanthropic nature. They want to know what you're doing, and I think it's one of those things that if you put good out as a player, they bring it back 10-fold rather. And I had just the most amazing experience with those folks because they're just so generous and kind.
Did you have a moment during tailgating where like you look back on it from like the day after and you're like, that felt like a movie?
Yeah, I mean, being on top of that, being on top of that truck and then spraying Pinto Ron, it was a unique experience. I just I, I knew what to expect,
Mhm.
but when you're actually involved in it and you're thrown into it, it's I wish I had the vernacular to explain the feelings that I had sleeping at or sitting at night in that bed. It was just so great, and I wish I had more. I wish I had something more eloquent to say, but and I also know I'm very aware that the farther you are removed playing, right, these experiences will still happen, but they won't be as intimate with the because time marches on, the fan base keeps growing, it gets younger, right? It's just I know that this moment, this time was so exceptionally unique that I just want to bottle it up and hold it and not let it go.
Who is Mitch Morse as a fan?
Very, of course, emotionally invested.
Uh-huh.
Um, who am I as a fan? Intoxicated. Uh, that's a great question. I'm still kind of figuring that out. I
Okay.
would say Mitch Morse as a fan is fluid, not only of what he's consuming, but just how I'm trying to process the information. Of course, these are still my friends doing their thing, but um, it is fun to kind of see it objectively to a certain extent, just see what's going on and understand what it's like watching while still having an emotional investment in the guys.
So you were obviously in town for the Saints game because you were the legend of the game. That means you got to lead the charge right before kickoff. You put your own spin on it. How did the idea come about?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, we had gotten there Thursday and then we had pretty full days, but at night I'd sit there, right, just trying not to stress out about the how intense the moment is and how important that moment is. And of course I want to put my own spin on it, sure, but I always thought that the job of that person is not to make it about themselves. It's about to grab the baton of energy and pass it along as seamless as possible. So I was trying not to go too far off script, but you can't just read the script because then it seems like
Right.
you're not invested in it too much. So yeah, the beer part was interesting. We had to clear it from the top, right? Because if I'm like, hey, I want to chug a beer, they're like, there's so many things that can go wrong, only a few
Right.
things can go right. But kudos to them. I looked them in the eye and I said, I promise you, I'm not going to embarrass you guys. I promise you, I'm going to do this the correct way and kind of interject that energy into this crowd. So if you trust me, I promise you, I'll not lead you astray. And then just had to make sure it was a little bat blue or a little bat blue white, and then and the rest was
Easy.
history. It was
Those are easy to find on Sunday in Buffalo.
easy to find, and they're very gracious to letting me do that. So it's not lost on me how unique that was.
I was wondering with the beer, I was like, did Mitch just like pull this out like it was a 2 minute thing? Like I have a beer in my pocket, it's just there, and I'm just gonna chug it. So it's nice to know that you cleared that through the top. Like that just speaks to how responsible you are, even though you're having so much fun on game day. Responsible enough to make sure it's okay to chug a beer on the field.
Well, I couldn't sneak it in because you still have to go through security, so they weren't letting any liquids in. So I still had to pass through the chain of command rather, and they went to the very top, which I appreciate because the last thing I want to do is ruffle any feathers because that's when you don't get invited back, and that's my greatest nightmare is not
Mitch
being
got
able.
banned from the stadium on his first game
Yeah,
back.
that's not cool. I want to bring my kids there one day and have them experience it. So it was. I feel like it was pretty fluid.
When you're watching like when I was watching the clip of you do this on the sidelines, it is so hard to ignore the huge Legends community patch that you now have on your jersey. How neat is it to be a part of that community now?
It was the one of the greatest experience. Of course, it was one of the greatest experiences of my life, but what a badge of honor,
Yeah.
right? So many guys have played longer than I have for the Buffalo Bills. So many guys probably had more accolades or anything like that, but to be gifted or granted or being able to enter that fraternity was something I don't take lightly and something that I want to respect and foster. So I'll always have that badge of honor, and I will not let it go lightly.
Another highlight of the trip for you was just getting to see so many teammates that you played with. I think that's one thing that's so unique to you getting to do this, like 2 years after you've been playing for the Bills. Your last year with them was in 2023, and so you know so many players on this team still. Who was the most excited to see you back in Buffalo?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, it was just I was probably more excited to see people than they were excited to see me. That being said, it was I don't think it'd be fair to say one single
Yeah.
person. I was blown away by the reception from the guys, and I will not. I know I've said this 1,000 times. I do not take that for granted. I guess that means I did something right, and this is a relationship business. It's about the people, and that was the most important thing to me when I was there. It wasn't the wins or losses. It was I doing right by the organization? Was I doing right by the people? And I think just being received that way was really awe-inspiring and extremely humbling.
A lot of your friends are still in the NFL. I mean, they have crazy schedules. How do you maintain those relationships to know, like, hey, when I'm back in town, like, these are guys that I still actually talk to?
Great question. You have to be aware of time. Their time is of the utmost importance, especially in season. Everyone's got routines that are sacred to them. So it's about being pliable to their schedule rather than trying them have to pander to me. So um, they were very gracious with their time, but also I was trying to be as aware as I possibly could to not get in the way of the keeping the main thing, which is them putting their best foot forward on the field and being present for their teammates. So I thought it went pretty well. And of course, I'm going to try to keep doing that when I get in town.
You spoke about your learning about who Mitch Morse is as a fan. What's the difference in watching Josh Allen as a fan compared to being on the field next to him and snapping the ball to him?
Yeah, you become way more aware of his superhero nature when you're watching him from afar. I always felt like I got lost in the game, lost in what was going on in regards to my job. And I mean, people would tell me who scored, I would forget. It's just the truth of it. So to be able to see him do his thing, uh, kind of from the outside looking in was such a treat. And it does not disappoint in person like it doesn't disappoint on TV either. So it's just so unique and cool. It's fun as hell. It was so sweet.
You played for the Bills for 5 incredible years. You've gotten to watch 4 games now of this 2025 version of the Bills. What's different about this year's team?
We had talked about it earlier, Maddie. It was just how much fun they have playing the game and how that correlates to them executing on the field. It throws itself out from the screen. Like that's one thing I see is that they foster guys kind of being in themselves and feeding each other with energy and then celebrating each other. And when you can do that and correlate that to good football, it's just so much fun to see.
It's easy to get lost in a week though and get caught up in, oh, we're playing against the second best run defense, or oh, we're playing against one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and then from drive to drive, if things aren't going right, it's hard to make it fun. When you were with the Bills, how did you find ways to make it fun when it was tough?
I probably didn't do a good enough job of smiling or having too much fun. That's when you just go to the personal piece of this is you foster these relationships. People pour into you as much as you pour into them, and then you get your opportunity to be vulnerable, lean on each other. And then when the vulnerability leads to getting to know each other even more, and then when you get in these really tough times or these tough moments in games or off the field, even more so than on the field, uh, it just you're able to bounce back, get back into a groove, and then you have people helping you out because it is a people's business, like we had talked about. And if you try to do this by yourself or be a superhero by yourself, is when you not only find that that suffering to compound, but then you lose sight of what's the important thing is that this is the ultimate team sport, and you're a part of something beautiful, which is the team, and then you guys go out together and execute as one. So it's a fun experience.
Mitch, you've got the podcast mic in front of yourself, you've got the headphones, you got the backdrop. It's obvious that you are now in the media landscape, man. How did you decide this is what I want to do after football?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it kind of throws guys off who were with me when I was playing, when I could be such a curmudgeon and get lost in just being a professional and trying not. Yeah, I didn't probably balance the fun enough with the actual business side of it. It turns out I have a horribly inflated ego that I found was buried in underneath probably my one of my my internal organs that finally came through, and I just want strangers to tell me I'm okay and that I'm doing all right. And besides that, I just love talking to folks. I enjoy talking about the one thing I probably have any that I'm apt to talk about, which is football. And then just getting to know people personally. They had me on Good Morning Football a few times, and I found that that was such a unique experience and one that really fed my soul and my spirit, and I was on fire. And so if I get an opportunity like that again, I want to have some more reps at what I'm doing, and just being able to talk in front of the cameras. Something that I thought would be more intuitive, but when you just takes time on task, like any profession, the more reps you take. So it's just a blast. I have so much fun doing it, and I hope that this isn't something that crashes and burns, and is something that we can just kind of slowly build on and have more opportunities to do stuff like this. This is a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, I mean, we go to Mizzou together. I do all the hard work and go through journalism school and have to endure that for 4 years. You don't have to, but look at you now. The perks of being an NFL player.
It is true. You find yourself being interviewed by people or being on shows with folks, and they're just such heavy hitters. They've worked at their craft. They know what they're doing. They know how to segue. They know how to pick their co-hosts, pick the people up they're with when they're struggling, or let people thrive when they're on a roll. Like that part is such a cool experience to have, and one, like I had talked about, super humbling and just something you try to pick up because it's not intuitive for me. And I've had a lot of people do me a lot of favors, and I haven't been able to do many favors back. So I'm hoping to continue this so that I can hopefully at some point be doing well enough that I can give some folks some favors.
Well, you know what? The Mizzou Journalism School would be very proud just because you still went through that university and look at you killing it in front of the camera. So you came back for a Bills game. Do you have a Mizzou game on your schedule anytime soon?
Sure do. Yeah, we're gonna go November. We're gonna go to the Mississippi State game.
Okay.
They had actually asked me to go down to Columbia for up to Columbia rather for the Kansas game, which would have been a lot of fun. But I was already predisposed, so I'm looking forward to that. Getting that giant hammer and banging the hell out of that big mo, which is that drum they have, getting the guys fired up, and then at the same time, just kind of letting them fly. I won't be any chugging any beers. I'll be hitting a drum, and then I'll be kind of Scooby Dooing my way to the sideline to watch the boys do their thing.
Have you gotten back for a game since you've been out of football, or did you ever go to a game when you were in the NFL? I know schedules don't line up, but I'm
Yeah, when I was in Kansas City, it was a lot more
okay.
convenient for being able to just
That
jump on
makes sense.
Thursday. Besides that, by the time I was in Buffalo, I was a family man, so as much time as in seasons you could spend with family, you took advantage of that. So I haven't been back in a very long time for a game.
That's so fun. I haven't been back in, I think it's been like 7 or 8 years. I want to go back so badly for a game, but schedules make it hard when you work in the NFL. Hopefully, soon enough, maybe I can line up with a bye week one of these years. But it's been cool to see their rise again because when we were there, they jumped from Big 12 to the SEC. They got really good in football. Basketball kind of took a step back. And then we left, and they went through some hard years, and now it looks like they're getting back in the right direction with Drink as the head coach. So
Yeah, it was fun. We were talking off air. I got to talk to Drinkowitz on our podcast, and just to hear his thoughts, his process, especially in this new world of college football, the semi-professional world. A very transactional league, unlike what we had. He's just got a good grasp on it. He knows who he is, and it's fun to see those guys play well. And I'm proud to be a Tiger. I know you are too. And to see those guys do well is such a fun experience.
okay, Mitch, you got your own podcast. Where can people find it, and what is it about?
That's a great question. I'm glad you teed up the kid for it. It's called Monday Mornings with Mitch. The inception of it actually started in Buffalo at Jeff Mazurk, who's the equipment manager, a good friend of mine. His couch was where we would kind of process the game on Mondays, sit around, chew the fat, talk wild stuff. And then, so when this opportunity came about, we just adopted what I got his blessing, his holy blessing to take that and roll with it. And we just talk about football. We talk about life. Try to get to know the people that we talked about as much as their relationship with the game and what's going on in their lives. So it's a hoot. You can find it on YouTube, Spotify, um, all these platforms, and we promote the heck out of it on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. So give it a shout if you want. If not, you're probably doing yourself a favor because it can be kind of be all
No.
over the place. But please give us a shout and see what you think.
All right. And you guys release weekly episodes, correct?
Correct. We try to release them on Mondays because that's the name of the title. Yesterday we barely made Monday morning.
It
We
was
made it,
called Mitch is Hungover on Monday morning.
which is struggling on the airplane, trying not to sweat and scare strangers on Monday morning. So it was a hoot.
I love it. Mitch, thanks for coming on to talk all things Buffalo Bills football and life after football. You're killing it, and I'm so happy to see that you found, media as your next thing. It's been fun to listen to the podcast too. I would highly recommend check them out.
You're so sweet. Thank you for having me on, Maddie. This was such a treat.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Inside the Charge. Make sure you like and subscribe and stay tuned for more episodes coming your way.